Good morning. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about water. Water everywhere, but is it safe to drink or bathe in? Well, we're going to talk about that. So, I know a lot about water because our family used to own a water utility. And we owned it for about 40 years. And I did learn a lot about water and water quality and why certain things happen and why certain things don't happen. But one of the things to know is that water companies are regulated. And so they have to chlorinate. And if they can, they filter it or not, But they do have to tell you, at least every couple of years, what's actually in the water. And we never had anything in our water to be concerned about until they decided that we needed to be regulated after all. Because they decided a long time ago we were so small, and because we lived on our own water, we didn't need to be regulated. So we didn't have to chlorinate, and the rules changed, and now we're chlorinated. And Mom and I are chemically sensitive, so we had to take care of that. We had to find a way to not be made sick by the chlorine in the water. Now somebody else owns the water company, thank the Lord, and it's their problem now. But we still have to keep ourselves safe from the water. So there are a couple of ways that we do that. At first, what we did was we got bottles like so, and we still use those, and we also use some of these because we can get them clean enough, and they don't leach chemicals. Unfortunately, those single-use bottles, they have a couple problems. One, they're flimsy, and so if the temperature gets too cold or the temperature gets too warm while they're being transported, they leach chemicals into their water. They're supposedly safe drinking water. It's not actually as safe as you might think. The other problem is they end up in the landfill, and they're causing problems with our environment because they break down into microplastics, and you have all heard about that. Well, that's actually a bit of a problem. It's a problem for us, and it's a problem for all our animals, including our kitties and our doggies. So that's something else to be concerned about. The thing about filters is, if you own your own home, you can get a full house filter and you don't have to worry about it. You can bathe in the water, you can drink the water, it's all good, right? But if you're renting, and a lot of people are renting, whether it's apartments or houses, a lot of people rent. You can't do that. If the owner of the house isn't willing to do that for you, you have to do something different. So there are a few things that you can do. The one is to go to town and get filtered water, but that doesn't take care of bathing in the water, because unfortunately we do absorb some of those chemicals through our skin, the herbicides and the pesticides and the other things, because most water companies are not able to get those completely out of the water. I don't know why, but they don't. And then so that's only sort of a good solution. And so one of the things that we looked at was, what else can we do? Now, we used to go to town and get bottled water, and that was a great solution. My husband was still my husband. Now he's not, because he had the muscles and he could lug those bottles around. I couldn't. And so I've gotten smaller bottles since then, but it still was backbreaking. But the other thing is there are better solutions, and one of them is filters that you can put under your sink if you own your own home, or you can put on your counter, and this is one of them. I got this one at a thrift store in its original packaging, unused, and when I looked it up online, after we got it. It turns out to be a really fantastic filter. I don't know why it didn't get used or what, but bonus. Blessing from heaven. I got it for $4. It's a $40 unit. Really a blessing from heaven. But you just hook it up to a faucet with this little end. I took ours off so I could show it to you. And you can see the calcium in our water. And it has this little thing, and so when you want to use the faucet water, it's this. And when you want to use the filtered water, you just turn the thing and it comes out that, which is dripping on my computer. Get that dried up. And so that's easy enough to get and hook up. And they do make some now that have filters that are replaceable. And there are some that are okay, and there are some that are really great. So you want to watch out for that. And I found a really great one. It was about $44 on Amazon. So when you go research that, do your due diligence. Look them over. Decide which ones you think you can do, which ones you can get hooked up, etc. But the other thing is your shower. They make little cartridges that you can put on your shower that go between the spigot of the shower and the shower head. And so you can filter your water. Now, I like to take baths. I need to take baths. My skin doesn't shed properly because I make too much keratin. And so one of the things that I do is I got a handheld with the long cord, and I will take and put that down in my bathtub. And so I can take a bath with filtered water. Because the most bathtub spigots for taking a bath are not made in such a way as you could add a filter to that. So that's how I figured out how to filter my bath water as well as my shower water. So, and then, so that's everything I have to say about home filtration systems. But now let's talk about water preparedness. We all have times when things happen. For us, when I was growing up, we regularly didn't have electricity. And being out in the wilds of Arizona, and when I was a kid, it was much more wild than it is now. And so if the electricity went out, one of the lines broke or whatever, it took them sometimes a few days to find the problem and to get it fixed. And so we stored water. We always had a backup supply of water. And your circumstances are going to be different than that. But you just never know what's going to happen. Even big water systems in the city, their pipes break. And sometimes it's one of those great big giant pipes. It's like 2 foot wide. Now, our water system, we only ever had this size of water pipes. That's the biggest our water pipes were. So, that's the difference, is that when they have an outage, it's a big outage. And it affects a lot of people. But you need to be prepared because you can't go very long without water. And the first thing that's going to disappear from the grocery stores is water. So have your own supply. Just have your own backup supply. Keep it in your house. And you can go buy a few of these. They come in 2 and 3 and 5 gallons. Or recycle the bottles you have that are food safe. And then you can store water in them. And we also store non-potable water for our toilets so that we can have sanitation. We can actually flush our toilet when there's no water to flush it with, because that's important too. So I would say, let's see, how many gallons of water do I think we're storing? I think we're storing about 50 gallons of water. Maybe more. And your disasters will be different. One of the other things that happened with us is that the well of our water company was on the other side of a big wash. And we have a flood season. And sometimes the floods would get really big and really harsh. And my light just turned itself off. Excuse me. Alrighty. And at that point, sometimes the water pipes would wash out. And sometimes it would take a couple of days before we could get them fixed, because first the waters have to drop and go away so we can dig up the dead pipe and replace it. And then we would have to run chlorine through those areas that had gotten contaminated by the flood waters. And so there was a process before we could have clean water again. And so that was what we did. But sometimes it took a couple days because we were at the mercy of nature. And there were a couple of times where when the floods were that big, it was days before the water receded so that we could fix the pipes. So there are other ways too. And so that's what you do if you're bugging in, is you just have good filtered water. And you can fill your bottles with this. You can. And store them. And if you're storing for the toilet, you don't have to filter it. And then if you ever have to leave, I recommend life straw type things. This is what mine looks like. It's got this on this end, and you put that end in the water, and it filters the water as you go. And that's always a good idea, even if you're going to be in a shelter, because even in a shelter, they may not have clean water, they may have okay water, but it won't be water you're used to. So get one of these, and then any water that you're near will become water you can drink safely. And I think that's everything I have to say about water. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. If you like my content, please subscribe. If I had good things to say today, please hit the like button. And have a great day.